Grandmother Rita, long visitor holy dance. One of the elders that I and my sister sat with when we were, in our early 30s. I'm 52 now. And I'm sitting in my healing room now thinking about her and about the last video I made. If you haven't seen the last YouTube video I made, you might want to check it out. It was badly recorded because I was at our sanctuary in Portugal. And so being online isn't really part of being up there, but I felt called to share it. So you can see that's already on my channel. And I'd really appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel. I'm putting this on my Eartha Love channel, and I'm also putting it on my Voices of the Elders podcast. And the reason why I'm putting on my Voices of the Elders podcast is because I know I'm not an elder yet. I'm in midlife, in deepening woman phase of my life, but I want to speak to why I started the podcast in the first place and what I'm speaking to on this video. Grandmother Rita Long Visitor Holy Dance and Grandmother Maria Alice, two grandmothers that I sat with years ago. When I feel back to the woman that I was in my early 30s, even in my late 20s, when I started studying shamanism and the mystical traditions, and even before that, since I was a teenager, but for me, the moment where I stepped fully into this path was when I was 27, and the elders that I met and shared their knowledge with me. And I just want to say that this video I'm making now is without judgment and without criticism. It's just a deep feeling in my heart to speak as a woman who's becoming an elder, to say to the spiritual community and to the new age culture, not like this. That's what these grandmothers said to me when they were faced with the new age culture during that time that I spent with them. Their words were not like this. Grandmother Rita, long visitor for holy dance, her words were that when she was a girl, her grandparents had come to her and told her, when the white man comes again, this time they will not come to colonize our lands. They will come to colonize the sacred, our sacred traditions. And she was told to keep her ears open and her mouth shut. And are we not distorting what we have been given? So for those of us who are moving into elder, who have been since the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s on this path, I think, those of us who've been given teachings directly from the Indigenous people and have worked with them inside of ourselves. And I only learnt this path with these grandmothers because I was so broken. I was so fragmented. The culture that I had been brought up in the West was so deeply wounded, a culture of soul loss, a culture of fragmentation. So when I received these teachings, I received them for my own journey to wholeness. And I've shared with others, yes. And I do feel like we should be valued for what we're teaching, but we really need to check in on ourselves, because my heart is so broken by what I'm seeing in the spiritual community and the new age culture. And that is what I talked about in my last video. The Western psyche taking Indigenous wisdom and distorting it because of our fragmentation. Instead of integrating what we've been given by the Indigenous people and integrating it and healing ourselves and getting ourselves out of cultural trauma and finding our way back into belonging through their teachings and embodying it, because we realize that what they've given us, the gift that they've given us, isn't for us to take. It's not for us to take and to sell. It's their traditions that they have embodied, and they come from integrated cultures. They gave us their teachings to hold, to be the carriers of their wisdom into the future for the next 7 generations and beyond, not for selling. The work is for us to really heal our fragmented Western psyche and weave ourselves back into the fabric of life itself, to become embodied, to be in living presence, to resurrect ourselves into, to go move through our own apocalypse into the prophecy of this time, which is that we are all here together on this earth. We are one. It's not for sale. It's not to become wealthy. The only way that we are going to reach the new time that is prophesied is if we come out of conceptualizing Indigenous wisdom and distorting it into the New Age culture. We have to reach spiritual maturity. We have to heal our trauma to be spiritually awake. We have no idea what it feels like to be Indigenous. We have our own ancestral traditions in the West that we need to reconnect with. And the gift of the Indigenous teachers all over the world is to help us find our way home to our own sense of becoming native again. Not to take their teachings and to sell them online. How are we going to be in wholeness if we are distorting the very teachings that we've been given? And as I said in my last video, now we've got the New Age culture collapsing. The New Age culture collapsing. And of course it is going to collapse. It wasn't. The foundation of the New Age culture is distortion. The foundation of the New Age culture is greed. The old paradigm has infiltrated the New Age culture. Otherwise, we wouldn't all be selling spiritual teachings and spiritual traditions from other people. And so in that collapse, instead of owning what we've done, which is conceptualize Indigenous wisdom, and through our narcissism and our fragmentation as a culture, we've brought it into ego and greed to be wealthy. And I'm not saying that we don't need to value ourselves as teachers. I do one-to-one healing sessions. I have 2 schools. But this wealth around spirituality is the old paradigm. And we have to check in with ourselves as we rebuild a new culture. We regenerate a new culture from the heart. We need each other to check in with each other. Is this from ego? Is this the old paradigm? Or is this something new? We don't even know what's new. We don't even know what it feels like to be in living presence, to be resurrected, to um, to be native, to be indigenous. How can we build the new earth on shaky ground of money? It's just more of the same. And I'm speaking this, I can feel my heart responding, because when I entered the spiritual community as a young woman, very young, this is not why I broke down all of my conditioning. I worked through my trauma. I've met the Indigenous people. I learned from them. I brought it back to the West. I brought my children up in the land with Indigenous teachings and Indigenous wisdom. I ran girls' circles and rites of passage programs and taught shamanism, not to be wealthy, but because I love I love I love everyone. I love our human family. I can feel the prophecy in every cell of my being. And now the new age culture is collapsing, which is necessary. It's evolution, it's the collapse of the distortion. But please, now, the demonization of Indigenous wisdom, because it's been distorted by the new age culture, the Christian faith saying it's demonic. It's not the teachings that are demonic. What's demonic is the Western psyche that is so deeply fragmented in the trauma of a culture that is so lost that we cannot initiate ourselves into spiritual maturity because we do not have each other. We don't love each other enough that we can hold space for our crucifixion, for our initiations, for our dark nights. So we stay stuck in those places, and our ego decides that it's demonic. It's not the medicine that's demonic. It's not even the ceremonies that's demonic. It's the Western psyche that's taking it all and distorting it and conceptualizing it with no integration, no embodiment, no humbleness, no belonging. And I have two daughters. And my hope for my daughters and for the next 7 generations is that we find our way out of conceptualizing all of the gospels, all of the teachings of Jesus, that we open our hearts to each other, get out of separation, out of division, stop selling spirituality and Indigenous wisdom, come back together in right relationship with each other. We need to be moving through our own apocalypse, through our own crucifixion. We need to be resurrected into the light of who we truly are. We need to be in our own personal prophecy. How can we do that if we're constantly posting on Instagram, trying to get more clients, trying to advertise the next retreat? Who are we to run luxury retreats for the wealthy by teaching Indigenous wisdom from the village, from the people who are living simply with their traditions in the village, loving each other in absolute unconditional love, growing food, herding llamas, being in the temple every day, giving each other rites of passage ceremonies. How can we take those teachings and seriously, you're going to make a luxury retreat in Bali or in Costa Rica or Peru, make it exclusive and sell it so you can become wealthy? That's not where these teachings have come from. Where's the service? Where's the savor? Where's the connection? Where's the love together? All this posting and trying to get more people, striving, pushing. It's not what spiritual teachings are. Where's the embodiment? Where's the integration? Where's the miracles of life that come from the deepening of ourselves into love with each other? And as we're now at this threshold of the birthing of something new, can't we hold steady and not take the old paradigm of ego and greed into the new? Can't we see each other through the eyes of love, through the eyes of God? See the world through the eyes of love, through the eyes of God? And I really honor all of the Indigenous women that have passed on their teachings to me. And as a woman of the West that's been born in the heart of the oppressor for a reason, my prayer is that I can find my way out of conceptualizing those teachings, and that I can find my way into the miracles that are being given to me by Jesus, by the Holy Father, that I can marry the Indigenous wisdom of the Great Mother, Pachamama, and all of our relations in my heart to the Holy Father, to the Christed Light, to Yeshua, to Apo Yeshu Christo, that I can marry them together in my heart and I can enter the kingdom of heaven. My prayer is that I ask for help to find my way in truth and in service and in savor, and to trust in God that I will be provided for by life itself. Amen.